If you love systems, if it's something that's just part of your DNA, or you're just fascinated with how things work and you like detail, you like working with people, this is definitely something to pursue. There are so many businesses that need this type of work. You're not going to be really struggling to get clients. There are so many people out there that need this work. There's really no business owner that I've ever chatted with that says, I don't need systems.
Today, we're going to be diving into the world of process consulting. I'm joined by Aimee Accinno. She's one of our systemologists. She's a little bit of a legend in our world, having been one of our earliest systemologists. She's been in the community for over 4 years, very much just quickly rose through the ranks, working with some of our clients at head office, really getting some spectacular results. She led the sales team here at Systemology also and supports other systemologists. Now, she's got a really great story to tell from going from the corporate world through to becoming a process consultant. So I'd love to learn more about her story. We're going to talk about what made her jump and decide to become a process consultant, the highs, the lows, everything in between. I want to get some key insights that she's learned along the way and see where she's up to now. So first things first, just wanted to welcome you to the call, Aimee.
Thank you. Excited to be here and share a little bit about my journey. I can't believe it's been 4 years. It certainly went by like really fast.
Yeah, just speeds by. I'm curious if we went back in time then. Um, Maybe tell us a little bit about what you were doing in the corporate world before you made the jump and what was going on and internally and what made you think, you know what, I'm going to look for something else.
Yeah, absolutely. So I worked at a major telecommunications company here in the US. For the US folks that are watching this, it's Verizon. I was there for 22 years and it just always felt like there was something more I wanted to do. I just wanted to be able to go out and work for myself. And so I had no idea what I was going to do when I made the leap and decided to leave corporate, but I started to think about what skill sets do I have, where best can I serve other businesses, and so I ended up becoming like right out of corporate, I became an online business manager. So I
Hmm.
was working with several small business owners and realizing that there was a common theme that I was seeing time after time, and it was that at the outset, they looked very successful, but behind the scenes, a lot of chaos, not a
Yeah.
lot of consistency or repeatability, huge need for systems. So that's kind of when the light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, there's a possibility for me to niche down and just work on systems with these business owners. They really need it, and I'm really good at it. It just seems because as I got more into like the formal training of systems, I would look back and realize, oh, I used to do things like that. Like I always lived by checklists or, back in corporate, creating step-by-step instructions for the vendors that I worked with. So it's it just ended up being a natural progression towards systems. But yeah, so that's what I was doing in corporate. I was a manager. I started off as a sales manager, then a call center manager, and then did some other management activities behind the scenes like operations, facilitation management. So a lot of that just has to do with keeping things organized,
Yeah.
keeping the wheels turning, and making life as easy as possible for in the internal customers, but especially the external customers. So
Do you
yeah, so
see yourself as a systems person? Is that something like, do you, even prior to becoming a systemologist, is that something like it sounds like in the corporate world you're quite organized and doing that type of work, and then you went and did the um, uh, online business manager stuff again, organizing. So I'm wondering if you just had a natural affinity to it.
I think I did, but I didn't label it as such. Like I didn't realize it until I really got into the training with
Yeah.
systemology. Because there was always like an approach that I would have, like, in sports or just wanting to know, like, how do you do that? How do you do that to the best of your ability? Especially now that I'm thinking about it, like with sports in general, or even just people working at the highest and best levels in business, I was always fascinated with, well, how did you get there? Like,
Yeah.
what steps did you take to get to that level and to be able to do it consistently? So I've always been fascinated with that and wanting to know like just the roadmap, or like, hey, give me the playbook for how you got to where you are, no matter what it was.
Yeah.
And I guess when I really look back, I was definitely systems minded. I just didn't know how to label it at the time.
Yeah.
So,
And did you like, was there a particular something that you said, right, I need to leave corporate to go follow this, or I'm never going to follow it? Like, was there a turning point or something that happened that prompted it, or and what was that first little step like to actually go, you know what, I'm not being fulfilled here and I need to go somewhere else? I'd love to kind of explore that a bit more.
yeah, so there wasn't, other than just feeling like I was meant for more, that I wanted to just work for myself. I wanted to be able to make a bigger difference in the world. And I wasn't seeing that or feeling that where I was. Now, all the years that I had in corporate were fantastic because they gave me I honed so many skill sets that I now use and apply in my work today. But it was just not feeling like I was making as much of a difference as I would like to. And just this
Yeah.
burning desire to always work for myself. I didn't realize, like, right out of the gate, how hard it is to start a business. So that was a rude awakening. But there's, when you approach it from a systematic manner, it becomes easier. So yeah, it was just like uh, realizing, the clock's ticking. I don't want to have any regrets. I want to just take the leap and see what happens. And I did. And when
Yeah.
I left, I had no idea what I was gonna do. That's the scary part. I probably, if I went back in time, I probably would have had a better plan, or, rather than just leaving it up to fate. But things just started to unfold in the manner that they were supposed to. So, drawing upon those corporate skills led me to working, in sort of an operational role with small businesses, and then working with several small businesses opened my eyes to the fact that a lot of them don't have systems. So,
Yeah. I kind
yeah.
of feel like there's this progression, and we'll get to a little bit more about it later as you've now sort of settled in on your niche. But it's like you
Yeah.
start very broad, you weren't too
Mhm.
sure, you kind of moved into that operations, and then you've niched down into systems, and then you've gone even further now to serve a
Yes.
specific audience. Um, yeah, I think that progression is really key. To actually step into systemology, was there something that initially attracted you to the work? Like, what made you go, "Hey, this is the direction I'm gonna head"?
Yeah, so it was after I had the realization, of, wow, small businesses need systems. I decided to do an online search to get my hands on every book that was ever written regarding systems. And at that point, I kind of only knew about eMyth. And upon my search, I stumbled upon Systemology. I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. So I immediately got the book on Audible, listened to it within the next 24 hours, went right to the website to download some of the free resources because I wanted to get my hands on everything I could, to just, educate myself and be able to take some of that learning and apply it to the businesses that I was working with at the time. And so when I went to the Systemology site, well, first listening to the book, like, it was, everything felt so aligned. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the way, the approach is so straightforward and simple. It's taking all the mystery and complexity out of, this process. It's like, it's a step-by-step way of just helping businesses achieve what they all desperately need. And then when I went to the website, I was like really excited to see that there was a certification. So I immediately applied and ended up chatting with someone from Systemology a few days later. So it just, Systemology was the first, aside from eMyth, the first systems book that I read, and the best one that I read because it has led me to where I am today. So,
Uh, that you've had the chance now to see a lot of systemologists sort of move into the community. So you've seen those that have been really successful. And I'm curious to know if it's obvious to you if there are particular qualities, like I don't know if you think about yourself or other systemologists, like what makes a great systemologist and what makes them have success.
Mm. So definitely someone that likes detail, likes systems, likes process, organization, and isn't afraid of the details because we need to get in the weeds and really understand something. But on the other hand, you also need to be able to see the big picture because when you're going into a session with a client, you need to really understand, have a general idea of what they're going to be talking to you about. So see it at that big picture level. Then you have to be able to know like what questions to ask, asking the right questions, in addition to having that attention to detail. That definitely is something that makes a good systemologist and just a good overall communicator. You're going to be working with people that have all different personality types, and you want to be able to put them at ease. You want to be able to draw out of the ones that tend to be on the quieter side the information that you need. So it's, being a good like detective, being able to ask the right questions, know when to dig a little bit deeper if you think there's more to it than what you're hearing, and just being able to lead people. So having that emotional intelligence to be able to recognize if someone's a little bit nervous or holding back a little bit, put them at ease, help them to feel comfortable, so that they're willing to share information with you, and trust you, and understand that everything you're doing is for the greater good, for their own benefit and also for the benefit of the company.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's definitely a learning experience working with different business owners and their teams. Uh, when we think about the challenges that you've come up against, like I know new systemologists, everybody's a little bit different depending
mhm,
on their experience. You had come from corporate. We've got other systemologists who were previously business coaches or consultants, and
yeah.
they've got different areas of strength. I'd love to know, maybe even just from your perspective, where you found the biggest challenges for you, and um, if you'd have any advice around how to overcome some of those.
Yeah, so my biggest challenge was, kind of expecting that the clients were just going to show up and that I would just be able to put out on the web I'm a systemologist, but eh, for me it was not having like the experience really with marketing and selling and just starting a business in general. So that was a challenge because I hadn't been exposed to it before. There's with time and experience, you get more comfortable with that. So what really worked well for me was pairing up with, another systemologist, business consultants, and systemology to not have to worry about where I'm going to get the clients from. Let somebody else do the work in terms of acquiring and converting customers. So I could just focus on getting very comfortable and confident in my skills delivering the service to the clients. So at first, I may have felt a little discouraged, like, oh, the clients they're not just lining up outside my door. Like, what? So, I don't know where I thought that was going to be a rational thought, but it's just the the best advice I have if you don't have any experience, like starting your own business, running your own business, pair up with someone else while you hone your skills, because to try to do everything all at once, to try to learn how to start a business and learn a brand new technique to apply to business owners or businesses, I should say, it can be a bit overwhelming and can leave you feeling a little bit discouraged, because it's a lot that you're putting on yourself at one time. So, if you already have those skill sets, you're an experienced business owner, business consultant, coach, then, jump right in because you already have those skills, you know how to get the clients. But for me, it was really trying to do everything at once instead of, setting myself up for an easier time by just focusing on learn how to do it, learn how to deliver systemology and the framework to clients. So yeah, that's kind
Yes.
of
I
where that would be the recommendation would be pair up with someone to build your confidence.
oh, hey, I know you're tuned in right now, so I'll keep this super quick, but you like awesome YouTube videos, don't you? Well, there's not really that many YouTube channels that create great content about how to systemize your small business. So I want to make sure that you catch every video that I publish. So if you haven't already, firstly, give this video the thumbs up and then go ahead and subscribe to my channel. You can even hit the bell notification to make sure that you're the first to know when I publish anything. So go ahead, do it right now. I'll wait a sec and then I'll transfer you back to the video. I feel like one of your biggest attributes that's really contributed to your success has been sticking with it. Like,
Oh yeah.
as time has sort of gone on, it's been so great to watch you grow and evolve and pick up the different skills required to really make this business work and been a real shining example of, hey, set your mind to a goal, stick to it. You kind of mentioned a little bit about some advice or things, yeah, advice to, let's say, someone coming into this. If you
Yeah.
look back now, and maybe it's related to that, maybe it's different, is there anything that you wish you would have known prior to becoming a systemologist and going down this track that might have been able to help set you up for success?
Mm. It's just that experience is what will build confidence.
Yeah,
So, like I remember going through training and like taking it all in. I'm like, oh, this is easy. I'm just gonna jump right in. But then you encounter different personality types, different clients, different questions, and you just have to trust that you're going to do the best job that you can. And with every client that I worked with, I gained even more confidence or got better at asking questions or started to learn more. um, and so but there was a part of me that wanted to just kind of hold back a little bit and hide behind, well, maybe I should take another review another module or work on my website instead of getting out there in the trenches and doing the work. And
yeah,
the best advice is the confidence is built through experience. So you just have to get out there and do it, even if you're nervous. You just, um, can't beat the actual implementation of the work. And so, the best way to do that if you're brand new is maybe find someone that you feel like everyone knows someone that has a business, so maybe offer up your services, use that as your test client or uh, your beta client, whatever it
yeah,
is, and you know get get that time on the wall, as you say, because there's nothing beats that. And if you're feeling intimidated or a little discouraged, or you're like, oh, I could have done a better job when you're brand new. You will do a better job, of course. Like nobody just jumps on a bike and starts riding it with ease from day one. You have to stick with anything in order to get better at it. And
yeah,
so I'm telling you, every client I worked with, the confidence just built, and it continues to build. And I've now worked with like dozens and dozens of clients, and it just continues. I learn more. Those skills that I learn, I then can have that in the back of my mind when I'm working with somebody else to, approach things from a different
yeah,
manner, ask even better questions. So,
yeah. And the as you're learning this and thinking a little bit about what systemologies help to provide, are there any sort of standout things for you as far as whether it's the training or the community or yeah, like what has what are some of the big takeaways you've got, I suppose, from the work that we do as far as training up systemologists?
oh yeah, all of it is fantastic. Like the training that we have the access to, so the self-paced training, the live training, the support that we get. Like I always felt like I was fully supported and still feel that way. The community is great. Everyone's like rooting each other on. I never feel a sense of competition with anyone because there are so many businesses out there. Like there aren't enough of us to serve all of them. So even if there's someone else in a similar niche, that's fine. I know that that's now an opportunity for me to collaborate potentially with another systemologist and brainstorm on ways to work with others. But just the feeling of being fully supported has really helped me. Like, those days when I'm kind of feeling a little down or discouraged, I could talk to another systemologist or talk to you or and just feel like, hey, no, I've got this. I've got this. This is just normal part of the growing pains of getting better at anything in life.
Yeah,
But the training really sets a solid foundation so that going into working with my first few clients, like I felt like I have a framework. I have a system, so I'm not going in there trying to wing it and figure it out. Anytime I got nervous, I'd fall back on, okay, what was the next thing I was taught to do? Okay, I
yeah,
can do that now. And applying systems to delivering the work with the clients. I mean, it's just it really set me up for success, knowing that there was always, yeah, I may not have all the answers, but I know the direction in which I need to go with the clients. And then if I had a question on something, I could always come back to the community and
yeah,
someone would have an idea or just words of encouragement.
yeah. I love how the watching the community kind of support you um, as you've been growing, but then equally what you then tip back into the community. I know at the moment you're doing some work with some new AI tools and showing the community here's how you're creating proposals using it and sort of
Yeah.
leveling up. I'd love to know what you're seeing or particularly any big changes with regards to AI and how that's evolving your work as a process consultant, but then also how you're seeing it evolve your clients' work as well.
Yeah, and, like, to be honest, when it first became really big, like, what, 2 years ago, I was really nervous. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, is this gonna replace me as a systemologist?" Like, because there's so there's so much that we can use it for, nowadays. I thought it was just gonna completely replace my job, and I'm like, "Wow," and I realized quickly it didn't. It just allowed me and my clients to go faster and do more, and I use it every single day and I teach my clients how to use it. From everything from helping with documentation to saying something in a more succinct way, uh, coming up with ideas for different processes and policies that maybe didn't exist already, helping with process optimization. It's, the sky's the limit, helping to create I guess the word it would be AI agents or, being able to compile all of their information and put it in one place where, their team can then leverage AI to gain access to answers, rather than having to go ask the same question to the business owner or a manager over and over again. So it's been a huge game changer, and there are just so many ways that I'm leveraging it now. I'm looking forward to the day when we can just pop a video in there and have it not just give us a draft of a process or an SOP, but also maybe pull screenshots from there too.
Yeah,
Uh, so that would be really ideal. But it's just allowed like business owners to move and systemologists like myself to get more done more quickly. And
yeah.
I'm just excited to see what else is we'll be able to use it for.
I think we seem to see the AI and getting the best results from the AI tends to happen when you really focus in on a particular problem or niche,
Mm,
or like I see that with the work that we do, we're obviously applying AI to process, and
yeah.
because we've got a specific problem, we can see that. Equally, I mean, you've narrowed now into your niche and your them thinking, and how does AI apply to this specific niche? So yeah, tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about the niche. Like you started broad, and oh, okay, well, I'm going to go
Hmm.
into business, sort of online business management stuff. Okay, now we niche down to systems, and where are you now?
Yeah, it's been interesting how I kind of stumbled into it or kind of fell in my lap. But it was last year when I just started working with custom home builders, and I had a few just come my way by way of referral. And I find that line of business just so fascinating. Like I've always had my own passion and fascination for like beautiful luxury homes. And it always just seemed kind of like a mystery to me to like, how do they even build that? And so I've had the opportunity to get behind the scenes and like learn every single step of that process, which can be a pretty complicated process, but it's it's just to me it's fascinating and there's so many moving parts, but lots of opportunities to standardize even when it's a custom luxury home. There's certain things that just need to happen where the customization is just part of the design process, and of course you build upon that design. But yeah, it was something that I never thought was going to be the niche that I fell into. That was not at all on my radar. But I think that if I were to recommend to a systemologist to niche down or not, definitely niche down because and do something that's fun that you like. It does. I was thinking it had to be, I don't know, something that I was extremely passionate about. And I would never say like I was so passionate about home building. Now I am though, but it's been something that was just so fascinating to me, and the people that I've been working with, um, they're all amazing. So it's definitely something I didn't expect, but I'm glad I'm in the niche now.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think there's it almost uncovers one of those myths around systemization, this idea that you can't have a level of creativity if you systemize too much. And
yeah,
how can you create systems for something so bespoke as custom home building, where every job's different?
right.
But there are steps in the process and key
Hmm.
milestones, and we always talk about you systemize
Yes,
everything around the creativity, and then
exactly.
you focus that in. So, the type of work that you do these days, like um, yeah, how are you working with clients? I know you do some one-on-one work, and what's
Mhm.
sort of like the ideal client load for you to be in a really happy place?
Yeah, so I think, I'm averaging around 6 one-on-one clients. That's where I'm doing the full implementation of interviewing, recording, turning those recordings into documentation. And you know, I've been getting a bit more interest in people that want to work in a done with you capacity. That's where I would coach them and their systems champion on how to implement the systemology framework from within the business. And that's, such a great place to be in if you're a business owner and have someone in the business who has, the desire to be the systems champion, because when you work with a systemologist to kind of help, when they have the ability to work with someone like me to instill that skill set within the business, they now have that for the long term. They having a systems champion within the business, like it really helps people move faster and it helps the adoption from what I've seen. Uh, doesn't mean that if you don't have one, you're not going to benefit, but it certainly helps. It helps people move faster. It helps people change the culture. And um, having that skill set once a consultant like myself comes in and then, moves on, you can't, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
So that's definitely um, a path that I'm going more down this year is doing a bit more of the done with you. And especially where I'm, kind of reaching capacity and having a bit of a wait list to work with folks one on one.
Yeah, perfect. Maybe in the tail end for someone who's considering becoming a systemologist, I don't know if there's any final words of wisdom that you might be able to give them as someone who's gone down the path now and had some really great success. Yeah, is there anything else or any other questions you wish I'd asked?
Um, let's see. In terms of just, giving some words of wisdom to aspiring systemologists, if you love systems, if it's something that's just part of your DNA, or you're just fascinated with like how things work and you like detail, you like working with people, you like variety, this is, definitely something to pursue. There are so many businesses that need this type of work. You're not gonna, you're 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 not gonna be bored. You're not gonna be, really struggling to get clients. There are so many people out there that need this work, and so, you know. There's really no business owner that I've ever chatted with that says, I don't need systems. Nah, that's not for me. Like 100% of the clients I've worked with understand that they need that, and, you know, maybe the only pushback I would ever get would be someone thinking it's gonna stifle their creativity, but we know how to answer that. It certainly does, and it helps to open up more room for creativity when you can standardize things. So for folks that are, maybe just coming out of corporate and afraid, "Oh, how am I gonna how am I going to start my own business?" And you can do it. I did it. You can do it. There are easier ways to go about it. Like I said earlier, when I alluded to maybe partnering with someone who's a bit more experienced, just to get your feet wet, and then you know everything's a system. Marketing is a system, sales is a system. It's not this big, mysterious, scary thing that I used to think it was. Once I learned how to break it down, like, oh, it's just a step-by-step process that you have to do in a repeatable manner in order to get the end result. So, um, you know, Systemology, like the just working with you guys has been awesome. When if someone's on the fence about, do I take the plunge or not? You're going to definitely get the best training that's out there. And you're going to have an incredible support system around you, whether it's the systemology team themselves or fellow systemologists just cheering you on. We all just want to see each other win. So
Yeah, awesome. Now, if someone wants to find out more about your work, I'll send them over to systemsmadesimple.net. Is that the best place?
that is right. Yep. And
Yeah.
my website might be going under a bit of a overhaul. We're redoing that right now, but yeah, that is the best place to find me.
Yeah, awesome. I'll pop a link through there. And yeah, thank you so much for your time today, Amy.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.